Hi, it's Joe Mazumdar, Exploration Insights at the Metals Investor Forum in downtown Vancouver with Darwin Green, CEO of HighGold Mining. I always got a problem with that.
Just think high grade gold and drop the grade out of it. High gold. That's where the name came from. Man.
Yeah. But I mean, the thing is that this name is based on this deposit or Johnson Tract that, and you worked in Alaska for a long time, that you had no idea.
Yeah, I'd never heard of it. I've like literally worked there for 20 years, off and on, 15 years steady, and hadn't heard about it, which is crazy because it's an exceptional asset. And it was discovered by Anaconda in the 80s, you know, the big mining copper company. They ran into problems in Chile. Ultimately, this thing passed hands to Westman, who were a mid-tier producer. And they were very focused on the engineering. They wanted to direct ship this ore to their existing mill that was about 900 miles by
testimony
water.
To its grade.
Exactly, because you just couldn't do that otherwise. But they had a mill that was really hungry for feed. What that means is they didn't really explore it that much. Their energies were on this other part. Anyhow, that mill shut down. Big looming property payment. It went back to the owners, and it sat there. And it, you know, for whatever reason, it went off their radar screen for a good 25 years, and it kind of feels like a new discovery because nobody knew about it.
So why? How did you get into it? How did it
get
rediscovered?
So I think, you know, it is on native land. So in Alaska, they settled their sort of land claims disputes back in the 70s, and they kind of carved Alaska into these 12 different regions, and they created these for-profit corporate entities with the shareholders being the native peoples within that region, the indigenous peoples within the region. And this was part of their land selection. They approached us. They're very relationship driven. We have a long history in Alaska, and they said, "Hey, we'd like to do something with this now." And there you go. You know, just for reference, these groups, they're fantastic people to work with. And a long history with mining. Other ones, Nana, for example, and Red Dog Mine, Chalista with the Donlin Gold Project, Barrick, Nova Gold there. So nothing unusual, but yeah. Anyhow, they brought it to us, and I jumped on it. Was the catalyst for the formation of the company.
So what is it? Leading up to this, so what is the Johnson Tract? What is this?
Like in terms of geologically, the deposit model. It has these elements of a VMS system. You know, it's in
volcanogenic massive sulfide.
Exactly, and those form on the seafloor in volcanic rocks. So it's in submarine.
And that's something you're familiar with, obviously, with Constantine.
Yeah, and before that, a company in Niblack. So I know VMS extremely well. And this doesn't look like a regular VMS. In fact, it's kind of a hybrid between that and epithermal. And really, it's more on the epithermal spectrum, I think. But I'm not willing to, we're kind of reserving judgment. What we do know is if you pivot just a little bit in your exploration model, you realize there's a lot of opportunity left here that the other guys didn't look at.
Because it was interesting from your talk, which all of it was interesting, but what I highlighted was the fact that you were saying that the previous explorers were more stratigraphically controlled, where now you're looking more at structure.
Yeah, absolutely.
So how does that change?
There's a couple aspects. So you just stand back and you look at the mapping, and it was good. It was really good work that was done by Anaconda and into Westman's era. But you stand back and there's about a 2-kilometer north-south trend of alteration that's cross-cutting all geologic units. So that doesn't fit well with the VMS model where everything's supposed to dump out at the seafloor at a specific horizon. The other thing, in addition to that alteration trend that's cross-cutting, is there's these, the alteration itself is kind of zoned, concentric zoned, almost like little Russian dolls, if you will. So on the outside, you've got one type of alteration. You get in, there's another type, and it's very distinct alteration. And in the core is the silicification, and then the core of that is where all the gravy is. That's where the high grade goes. And for us, with exploring this, that change, it affects how you would explore it versus a conventional VMS model, and it's opened up this trend to the north. So what's happened is you go north, topography goes up, and those concentric models, it's almost like you're above it. So you're in the stratigraphic zones above it, so you got to drill down. And what we see is the gold, you don't really get any gold outside of that silicified zone. It's anomalous in the silicified zone, and then it's really high grade in here. But what we're seeing is everything up here looks identical to what we see right against the deposit. And so we've got now 2 kilometers of trend to test, whereas before everything was confined to a little area here.
So what helps you find these? I mean, this is what's interesting to me, and why I bought the stock was because this was high grade, but also the continuity of it was ridiculous.
Yeah. Continuity and width. Those are, what do you want in a deposit? The perfect deposit is it's really high grade. good widths and great continuity that add to that mineability. So it's quite, subvertical, it's open to long hole stoping. So it is the ideal deposit. We've got 275 meters of dip length and width of 20 to 50 meters plus, true width, and then it's offset by a fault. So the big question for us is how big can we get this?
Right. And there's one fault that's offsetting it to this northeast offset zone that could be another one, but deeper.
Exactly.
But also you've drilled deeper than they've drilled and you found something in what's technically the footwall.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's a brand new zone, and we kind of found it, not by accident, but it was fortuitous, because this drill program that we did was fairly small. It was 9 holes. It was really about trying to understand what we have already, looking at the deposit, twinned a couple of holes to confirm the past work, and feel out the geological controls on what we're on and put us in a position to generate a resource. Well, we pushed one of those holes deeper into the footwall and we hit something brand new, hadn't been hit before. Real strong copper silver signature to it. It's a bunch of chunky veins. The whole system is maybe 30 meters wide, but we had a 20-meter interval of about 2.5% copper, an ounce silver, and 5% zinc. Really nice. Totally open, and it seems to be going in this north-south trend that overall alteration does. What's interesting. So that's one target area. I mean, open to the north, but this offset target. So we're taking it from surface down almost 300 meters, and there's this fault. We don't know how much is on this side, but the best grade and widths are right up against the fault. It's getting better and better and better grade as we get down here. So it looks like you're increasing, and it's going to be growing at depth. But then it's damn, it got cut off by a fault. Well, it got moved to the northeast. We know this, there's good kinematics on that fault structure. It's moved to the northeast, and the past workers kind of had figured that out, and they worked their way along. They just didn't know how far, and they finally tagged it. And when I was talking about those concentric kind of Russian doll models, well, we know we've tagged it. We've either tagged the same one or we found another one, because it has the exact same very diagnostic alteration, which is a very unique kind of alteration, right? These anhydrate nodules that become semi-massive to massive into the silicification. Anyhow, that's sitting there, and so we found the second last doll, if you will, and now we just need to kind of vector into where we pick it up off of that, because it was a couple of wide-spaced holes. They were deeper, and it's just waiting to be.
So the value add for your company is basically to find more of this, because what you're drilling right now is sort of known.
Yeah.
And you're confirming it now, and then you're going to put out a resource on it?
That's correct, yeah. Here in the next couple of months, yeah.
Okay, and then the idea is to add more, and not only in the northeast offset zone, but you've got all these other targets that nobody's actually looked at.
Yeah, that's right. So there's this northeast offset, this new discovery in the footwall that ties into a kilometer-long trend, and then if you scale out further, go to the next valley over, there's an alteration system, sort of a big valley scale alteration system. Next valley over, same thing, with surface chemistry.
Which was not of interest to the previous
explorers. Very, very little work. They put a couple holes into one of those. It's about 4.5 kilometers maybe to the northeast.
That difficult creek?
Yeah. And it's basically had no work done on it since. And it's a really neat looking system. It has the same alteration signature as our main deposit, and the same unique gold zinc signature of the main deposit. So it looks like there's good probability of other deposits to be found.
So obviously Alaska's seasonal, so when do you think you'll be back up there drilling?
Yeah, sort of a late May, early June, and then you can go right through into the late October.
But prior to that, you'll have a resource, and you'll be drilling on your Ontario project.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, we didn't talk about that at all. I mean, we love those projects. They obviously get overshadowed by 100 meters of 10 grams like we're generating at Johnson, but really neat projects. We've been waiting a long time to get after those, and we'll be starting there late February, going through March.
And you're funded for the entire year.
Yeah, and then some. We've got about $14 million in the bank right now, so we're well funded to execute and see what we can make this thing.
All right, thank you, Darwin.
Thank you, Joe.
Okay, well, it's Darwin Green, and I'm Joe Mazumdar, Exploration Insights, Metals Investment Forum in downtown Vancouver. Thank you very much.